Welcome to another TOEFL Listening Practice video. In this video, you will listen to a lecture, answer some questions about it, review the correct answers and explanations. Channel members can download their worksheets in the Community tab of the channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more TOEFL listening practice.
So today we're looking at a fundamental concept in biology and medicine, one that essentially defines what it means to be a living organism, and that concept is homeostasis. The word homeostasis itself gives you a clue about what it is. Homeo means the same, and stasis means standing or remaining. Biologically, it's the process by which living systems, including the human body, maintain a relatively stable internal environment despite continuous and often dramatic changes in the external world. Think of your body temperature, your blood pH, your blood glucose levels. All of these variables must be kept within a narrow, non-negotiable range for your cells and organs to function correctly. Now, how does the body achieve this balancing act? The answer lies in what we call feedback loops. These are the control systems of the body, and they are typically composed of three main parts: a sensor or receptor that detects the change, a control center that processes the information and determines the appropriate response, and an effector that carries out that response. And we classify these feedback loops into two major categories, which is where the real distinction lies: negative feedback and positive feedback. Let's start with the one that's far more common and is responsible for the vast majority of homeostatic regulation: the negative feedback loop. The term negative here doesn't mean bad. It means the response is in the opposite direction of the initial change. It's a corrective, stabilizing mechanism. If a variable increases, the negative feedback loop is activated to make it decrease. If a variable decreases, the loop is activated to make it increase. The goal is always to return the system to its predetermined set point. A classic, simple example you're all familiar with is body temperature control, or thermoregulation. If you step outside on a cold day, your body temperature starts to drop. That's the stimulus. Sensory nerves and the hypothalamus, the control center, detect this drop. The hypothalamus then signals the effectors, skeletal muscles to start shivering to generate heat, and blood vessels in your skin to constrict or narrow, a process called vasoconstriction, to conserve heat. These actions negate the original drop in temperature, bringing it back to the set point of about 37 degrees Celsius. It's an inverse response. But let's look at a more complex and clinically significant example: the regulation of blood sugar, or blood glucose. When you eat, especially carbohydrates, your blood glucose level rises. The pancreas, the control center, detects this and releases the hormone insulin, which signals cells to take up glucose, making blood glucose levels decrease. Conversely, if glucose levels drop too low, the pancreas releases glucagon, signaling the liver to break down stored glycogen and release glucose, thus increasing blood glucose. This continuous two-sided tug-of-war is the backbone of glucose homeostasis. When this critical negative feedback system breaks down, when the sensors or effectors malfunction, that's what leads to a disease like diabetes. Fundamentally, diabetes is a pathology of a failed negative feedback loop. Now let's turn our attention to the second type, the positive feedback loop. Positive feedback loops are much rarer in the human body, and for good reason. Remember, negative feedback reverses the change. Positive feedback amplifies or accelerates the change in the same direction. This moves the system away from the set point, which is why positive feedback is not used for maintaining stable long-term conditions. It's used for processes that need to be driven quickly and forcefully to a definite endpoint. The classic example of a beneficial, yet temporary positive feedback loop in humans is childbirth. When a woman goes into labor, contractions push the baby's head against the cervix, the stimulus. Nerve cells in the cervix signal the pituitary gland, the control center, to release the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin then stimulates stronger and more frequent uterine contractions, the effector action. Here's the positive part. Stronger contractions push the baby's head even harder, causing even greater stretching, which signals the brain to release even more oxytocin. This powerful, escalating cycle amplifies the signal, pushing the process quickly to completion until the baby is delivered, and the pressure on the cervix immediately stops, breaking the loop. Another common example, a bit more rapid, is the process of blood clotting. A breach in a blood vessel wall causes platelets to stick to the site. These activated platelets release chemicals that attract more platelets. The more platelets that arrive, the more chemicals are released, creating an ever-increasing cascade of platelet aggregation until a stable clot is formed to plug the vessel. The goal is rapid completion. Plug the hole now, not long-term stability. So, to wrap up, homeostasis is the stability of the internal environment, controlled by feedback loops. Negative feedback is the core mechanism of stability. It reverses a change to return to a set point, exemplified by blood sugar and temperature regulation. Positive feedback is a temporary, non-homeostatic mechanism that amplifies a change to rapidly push a process to completion, such as childbirth or blood clotting. Understanding this distinction is key to understanding not only human physiology, but also the fundamental principles of regulatory systems across all living things.
One, what is the main purpose of the lecture? Two, according to the professor, what is the key difference between negative and positive feedback loops? Three, which of the following is an example of an effector in the process of regulating body temperature, as discussed by the professor? Four, why does the professor mention the disease diabetes in the lecture? Five, what can be inferred about the role of the hormone oxytocin during labor? Six, place the following events of the positive feedback loop for blood clotting in the order they occur.